Welcome back to Adventures in Search and Rescue in the mountains of northern New Mexico. This next episode talks about more trails out of the ski basin. In the last one we talked about hiking up to the Wilderness Gate. It's the fence line that separates state property from the wilderness area. This time we're going to walk through the gate, and we're going to make an immediate left and head uphill due west to Aspen Peak. It's a short hike. It's a little over a quarter mile. It's fairly steep in places, and unfortunately there's no great view on top, but it's worthwhile because there is just off to the north of the peak a great overlook, again overlooking the Sangre de Cristos, Santa Fe Baldy, etc. Now be careful coming back down. You want to hike on the downhill side to your right and downhill. You really can't go too far right because you'll run into a fence line. If you run into the fence line, follow it to your left, and it'll get you back to Wilderness Gate. It's easy to get distracted because it's beautiful scenery. We had a mission out there where a woman got lost, and unfortunately it didn't end well. I myself, in daydreaming, have gone around a lot of the deadfall to the left, even though my dog was telling me I should be going to the right. And after about 15 or 20 minutes, because it shouldn't take you that long to get back down to the Wilderness Gate, I realized that I had gotten myself off track, had to pull out my GPS to make sure I knew where I was, and was able, of course, to get back to Wilderness Gate by hiking uphill through some downfall. Don't make the same mistake. In any event, if you don't want to go to Aspen Peak after you've gone through the gate, you're on the Windsor Trail, and it goes for a very long distance. If you follow it all the way, 7 miles or so, you can get to Santa Fe Baldy. That's a long day's hike, very much worthwhile. Keep in mind that it's 14 miles round trip, and the weather changes dramatically in the afternoon in the mountains. And at Santa Fe Baldy, you're up well over 12,000 feet. So weather can come in and change your day dramatically. In any event, let's start back at the gate. And as we're walking down the Windsor Trail, about 3/10 of a mile, we're going to come to a trail off to our left. It's the number 403. We call it the elevator. Unless you're in really great shape and really want a big challenge, don't go down the elevator. It's about 1,700 feet of elevation decline going down in about 1.5 miles. So it's a lot of decline. And if you turn around and want to climb back up, guess what? It's a lot of climbing back up. It's a very difficult trail. We'll talk about some other ways to get there, none of which I'll recommend unless you are in really good shape and want a really good workout. So instead of taking the left down 403, we continue down the Windsor. Now, you're going to come across a trailhead which will take you off to your right and up to Nambe Lake. It's a great hike. It's very steep in sections, but it's well worth it. I want you to keep in mind that after you get to the lake, when you're coming back down, those steep sections are steep going downhill, and there's a lot of scree. That's loose rock and pebbles, so you have to be really careful coming down. Getting up to the lake is pretty enjoyable, except for those steep parts. And when you get on the trailhead going up to Nambe Lake, you'll come across the Nambe drainage. You follow it uphill. Eventually you have to cross over. And the trail is fairly well marked, though there are a number of social trails off of it, all of which lead up to the lake. Just keep going uphill, and you'll get to the lake at some point. And it's a great place to stop and have a lunch, enjoy the scenery, and then hike back down. Keep this in mind, that when you hike back down to the Windsor, you want to go left. We've had any number of missions where people coming down got confused, went right, and as I said before, if you go right on the Windsor at that point, you've got another 6 or 7 miles to go to Baldy or Lake Catherine or even Cowles. Anyway, more about that next time.